Hello. Today I'm looking at a 2006 Chrysler Town & Country, and I'm not sure if you can hear me well, but there's a lot of noise coming from, I hope it's the alternator. Alternator's never been changed. This engine has approximately 280 some thousand miles, so it's time we change it. And I'm hoping it's that pulley on the alternator right there centered. I've changed the tensioner pulley before. Water pump could be the AC compressor, because I am having issues with the AC. So just wanted to get a sound of what I'm hearing, and no other indications of a bad alternator at this point. Still seems to be charging okay, but like I said, I've never changed it. I've had the vehicle since I think it's been, I bought it with 40,000 miles on it. So also to start this off, once I shut it down, I'll disconnect the negative terminal on the battery, and I'll jack the vehicle up and take off the passenger side wheel to access this. This process covers a multitude of caravans, town and countries. In this span, you can look that up, and the 3.3 engine and the 3.8 engine are very similar. I believe I'm going to take off this EGR valve to get it out of the way, because the alternator will come up through the top here. All right, I'm going to stop the video and continue with the steps here. So I just wanted to give you a quick shot under the car. I'm going on this frame rail here to jack it up. The place usually you add the jack is, the weather's tore it up pretty good, so I'm not going to use that. I don't trust it. Where that notch is, I'm going to put the jack stand, and like I said, I'm going to lift up the car here so I can get the wheel off. I've also chalked up the back of the wheels as well, so nothing moves. Just wanted to give you a shot though. Probably put the jack stand, like I said, right around that, where that hole is right there. Seems to be pretty built up right there. So I just wanted to show you, I decided to switch where I was going to have the jack and the jack stand, so I could just fit the jack stand base right along the jack. But this will work. This will give me good support. I'll leave this in there while I work on it and take the tire off and get to the tension pulley to get the belt off. So I just wanted to show, have already taken off the wheel cover for the lugs. I always use a 4-way wrench when I can. Of course, if you're stuck along the road, if you don't carry one, you wish you had. But for those of you that don't use them, I recommend these if you don't have an air gun or whatever. But they work great. Just thought I'd add that part in there. All right, here we are with the wheel off. It's a good time to check out everything. You can check your brake pads real easily, see where they're at. This one appears to have pretty good life on it still. I changed them not too long ago. Just a good time to check everything out. This shroud, this rock guard, whatever you call it, needs to be removed. So I'm going to show you where the little Christmas tree fasteners are that you'll need to pull off with they sell a remover, or you could just use a pair of pliers. If you're trying to be careful, you can reuse them. There's one right there up high, and the next one I'll show you right here, and top one right here. See if I can focus that in. There it is with the light. And finally, this one right there. There should be 4 total. Like I said, I'm going to remove those with a pair of pliers. Try not to break them so I can reuse them. If not, I have more. And once we get this off, I'll show you the access area we have to get to the belt, to remove the belt. I wanted to get a shot of the tools I used. Also had a screwdriver standing by, but there's this fastener tool remover. I used that mostly. It did a good job. The two long ones were the ones up top, and the short one was went to where that little lip is hanging out. Just remember that. I didn't have to take off the one in the front. I just slid the cover down and slid it out of the way. And also there's this Nipix Cobra plier tool I use to get those off. You can see I've kept them. I mean, they're looking a little rough, but I'll reuse them. They look like they'll work okay. Here's a shot of the bellies, excuse me, the pulley system, and you can see my tensioner looks pretty new. It's pretty shiny, and we're going to hook up the tensioner tool to remove the tension and slip that belt off. A lot of grime, a lot of oil there. There's where my light is. There's one of the, I believe it's a 15 millimeter bolt from what I saw online, and there's the other bolt right there near the edge of the pulley. There's 3 bolts total. Those 2 off on the side. I think the top one I'll get from the top, and then there's one in the front. So 3 bolts total for the alternator. But next I'll show you the tool that I'm going to use to remove tension off the belt. I think I'll replace the belt. I got to go get one. It's not that old, but since I'm here, I might just replace it. They're not that expensive, and they give you more insurance that you have it pretty new. Here's the tensioner tool that I have. It's actually just the that black piece of metal. It accepts a ratchet on one end to get the leverage, but you can see it's got that little piece at the top that'll go into that slot in the tensioner. I'll get a shot of that when it's in there. Here's a shot. I ended up using a much larger ratchet. I don't know what I was thinking. It had a good grip on it. I was able to remove the belt off the AC compressor, and then of course slip it off the alternator as well. So the belt's completely loose, and like I said, there's the tensioner wrench. I think there might be another piece to this wrench to have a longer extension, but you know, it's one of those things. I can't find it when I need it, but this worked. So the belt's off, and now I'll move up towards the top of the engine to address the EGR pieces, the plugs and the bolts up there. So next I wanted to show the connector on the EGR valve. You have to push this lock out to the side and then squeeze from the bottom here to pull it off. So this is unlocked right now. The bolt for the alternator, the looks like the red wire, it's 13 millimeter. So I'll take these 2 off, and then we'll be able to get to the final plug down here. Can't see if it's got a lock on it or not, but I'll look at that once we move this out of the way. It makes sense to get these out of the way first. So I now have the main wire connected to the alternator off. I have the EGR plug off. Have them pushed down here to the out of the way. I wanted to show you this connector on the bottom part of the alternator. I had trouble with this. This tab is now out. I pushed it from the engine towards the back of the car, the back side, and I pushed it out towards the front of the engine. And you actually have to squeeze this right. You can't see it because it's on the underside. You squeeze the tab right towards the end where the wires are coming out. There's a good shot of the underside of the plug. You can see the where you squeeze it, it's right near the end. and as soon as you pinch it right there, it'll pop right off. Pop right off that right there. There's the tab out. Like I said, it'll be facing towards the front of the engine when the red tab is unlocked. Also wanted to show there is the other 15mm bolt covered in oil and grime, but that's the third bolt. I mentioned the other two that are off to the passenger side. You can get to one easily from the wheel well, the other one up top. But there's the third alternator bolt, 15mm. Like I said, there's the top one right there, and the other one's underneath. I think next I'm going to do the EGR valve. I'm going to take these bolts off, and also these bolts up top, 8mm, and there's a bolt up top here. And I think I'm going to just maybe loosen the bottom one and swivel it out of the way to get the alternator out. I just wanted to show a shot of the bottom alternator bolt. Really the best thing I could do was just to get this ratcheting open-end box wrench down there. I took off the plug wire so I'd have some room to move the wrench, but I can just get the closed end on there, and luckily I can ratchet it out, it looks like. I'm not sure about these bolts for the EGR tube. They are really corroded. Like I said, getting up towards 300,000 miles on this thing never has been off. So I'm letting some PB blaster sit in there. It's good stuff. Got the top two bolts out. That was nothing because they just go into that plastic shroud. But so we'll see. I might try to get the alternator out without moving the EGR at all. I don't think you can do that, but I might have to try. And like I said, I just wanted to show that bottom bolt there. Just couldn't really get a socket around there because you have that tube for the compressor in the way, and but you can definitely fit a ratcheting open-end box wrench on there. Like I said, pop off the spark plug cable. You can access it. Next I'll tackle the top bolt and the bottom bolt off to the side of the alternator. I now have the bolt down here is out. You can see the where it's misaligned there. The bolt's out. Looks like they might all be the same length bolt. They're all the 15mm. Have the bottom bolt out, which is right below that one. This is the last bolt. Take it out. It's holding the alternator in place, and I'm using the ratcheting box wrench for that, just because there's not a lot of room to get a ratchet in there. Is just easier to use that wrench. And like I said, I'm going to try to maneuver this out of here without taking the EGR out, but we'll see. I'll come back to that. All right, alternator's out, and not out the way I thought it would go. I was not able to remove the top bolt on the EGR valve. It started to strip, and no matter what I tried, I could not move this out of the way. It must be really tight. So I decided to try. I tried to maneuver it through this gap right here and up, but the dipstick tube got in the way. So you see that there's a bolt hole right below the spark plug. I removed that, and also the little Christmas tree push-in, plastic push-in on the mount of the dipstick tube, and then down there where my light is where I pulled out the dipstick tube, got that out of the way, and I thought I had enough clearance then, but then I hit the heat shield to the exhaust, and it's 2 bolts right there. 2 bolts hold that in right there. They were 10mm, and once I took that out, I was able to finagle the alternator, and I had to flip it around a little bit, and I was able to get it out. So yeah, that's out now, and I'll be able to get the other one back in and bolt it up, it looks like, and put the parts back. All right, here's the old alternator versus the new. I went with a AutoZone Duralast, and it's pretty good line. I usually buy the Duralast products. They seem to give me good service, and they never ask any questions if I have to return one. So that's what I'm putting back in. I'm going to fish this back through the opening and start putting it back together. By the way, I could hear some noise when I spun the old one from inside, and the other one's completely silent. Just thought I'd mention that. All right, so I was able to slide it back through the gap. It gave me a little trouble at first. Just to give you a hint, I had to hold it from the pulley, have the pulley side up, and I was able to fit it backwards through that gap. I had to twist it a little bit to get it just perfectly aligned. And then when it dropped down in the bigger space, I was able to flip it into the correct position it needed to be, which is like that, with that bolt hole down there at the bottom to go into the block there in the front of the engine. So now I'll start putting the heat shield back on the dipstick and start reversing the process of things I took off. Get the EGR tube back on, and then I'll be able to bolt up the alternator last. But yeah, I was able to fit it through there, and this might be a very helpful idea for someone. This is a 3.8 liter. I'm not sure if the 3.3 is the same, but didn't have to take the EGR out. Couldn't get it out right now. I don't have a bolt remover to try to get that bolt out. Didn't want to fool with that today. So I'm going to start putting it back together. I have the alternator back in, started it up. I'm still getting that terrible sound, but I think I found what the issue is, and looks like this will be another video. This is the compressor, and yeah, you can see how the grease is leaked out around the pulley, and it looks like it's really wearing unevenly around there, and I'm pretty sure this is where the issue is. That my AC has been out for a little while, and this summer actually. So I'm going to start this up in one more video, just with it running close to it. I should have caught this earlier, but anyway, I'll be right back. All right, I'm back again, and very loud. But again, I believe the issue is with the AC compressor. See a little wobble to the pulley actually, perhaps. So anyway, this will be another video, but the alternator went in okay. And thank you for watching this alternator installation. And like I said, I'll be doing one for this compressor here next.